Okay, according to my data, sorry, can't see me, too low. Just wanted to reset the gimbal. According to my data, we are actually live streaming. Yep, we are. I got the notification. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to load this into my phone, and I'm going to put my phone into my beautiful CNC machine aluminum 6061 holder, clamp it down tight, and we're going to go for a ride on a bicycle. Yes, I am live. Haha, how's it going? How does this look? I just turned on my light. How does this bicycle mobile thing look? All right, hi Dean. Good to see you. What did I say, Dave? Can't read. Yeah, we are live. Okay. And I said that it could happen anytime after 9 p.m. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Now, those of you who know the Pocket 3 know that it has this like kind of a bizarre, strange clip-on thing that has the 1/4-20 threads on it, right? I'm not using that. I actually am using the OEM, that's made by DJI, GoPro holder. And the GoPro holder cradles the thing, and it is actually quite safe. I'm not worried about it. The only thing is, I'm not using the black Pro Mist filter because it might shake and it might fall off. The magnet, you know, is not too good on that thing, so. All right, I'm just coming back from the Thai place where I normally go. So you guys are gonna get like a front row seat of my usual bike ride home. It's not that long. I don't know, 900 meters, kilometers, something like that. It's actually quite cold tonight. I think about 13C, 14C. I might be wrong, but now the bad part is I have my gloves with me and I can't wear them because I can't swipe the phone if I need to. Now I'm gonna take it easy. I've been getting a little bit of relief, excuse me, I'm burping, from my PVCs and my heart palpitations, but I'm still taking it a little easy. Yes, that's right. And you see my Taiwan-made bicycle light. You know, I charge the battery in this thing like once a month. It's really amazing. How's the audio? I have the dead cat on. I also have the noise reduction on. And there is a tremendous amount of noise. There's a lot of wind noise and traffic noise. Wow. That guy thinks he's got a hot car. Feel pretty good. Heart rate feels like it's about 140. Yeah, unfortunately, I know my heart rate like I know the temperature because of 17 years of feeling it beat in my chest. Audio's fine, great, fantastic, thank you. See, I tried the 360 bicycle mobile, remember that? A couple of months ago? And although it was a pretty successful live stream, it also was problematic for two reasons. Number one, it was in portrait. Why do people think live streaming is all portrait? Second is, I had to reframe it. Every time I turn a corner, you know, I had to recenter it. And I'm gonna stop at this corner right here because there's two things I want to do. Usually, when I'm riding home, I'm not talking. Oh, my watch is asking me Do I want to record a bicycle workout? Yeah, I guess so. Why not?
Below range, current heart rate 128 beats per minute.
Oh, it's only 128. Okay. It's gone down. That's actually good. Go on. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of my lip balm on because it is just, it's brutal out here. Wow. All right.
Range, current heart rate 140.
Yeah, I know my heart rate's below 140 now, but I'm not going through a tunnel and up a hill. Well, the tunnel wasn't anything, it was up a hill. I'm going to mute the microphone just for 1 second. The reason I muted the microphone was because I just did what we call PT in Chinese, but basically in English we would call it the farmer's Kleenex. And I just thought it was impolite if I just did that, you know, out in the open. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to ride up here in my normal neighborhood, and we're going to find a spot to sit down. I have the Ulanzi MT44. You know what? I feel good now. Wow. A little bit of exercise has energized me. I have the Ulanzi MT44 with me. You know, we got a 5G connection, man. We're cooking with gas. I got my giant mountain bike, the Yukon. I'm on the smallest chain ring, and I'm trying to keep a high cadence because I do kind of want my heart rate up, you know, because that's the whole point. All right. I'm very, very impressed with this Pocket 3 performance, especially in nighttime. What did you just say? Siri just said something, but I don't know what it was. Very impressed with the Pocket 3 performance. Okay. Red light, downshift, and we're going to wait for the green light. Now, I live over there, but this is industrial road number 2, Gongye. They call it Gongye Erlu in Chinese. Lu means road. And Gongye means industrial. So you're going to see some stuff that you have seen over the years in many of my live streams. We're coming up on the corner with the High Life, the Simple Mart, and the very famous Jar Jar store. Now, there is some wind, which makes me think that maybe the park might not be such a good place today or tonight. Okay, 140 it says. Is that what it said, or 114? I don't know. It said it was below range. It's telling me to pedal harder is what it's telling me. So the Simple Mart is here. Oh, 141, okay. That's actually good. Okay, now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stop for a second. This is a Simple Mart here on the right. Right across there, that's the famous Jar Jar store, right where the light's pointing. And then over here is the High Life, where I have live streamed many times, and that's the new 7-Eleven that has that really beautiful, you know, upstairs area that I like so much. Now what I want to do is go down that road behind High Life to the park, and you'll finally get to see where it is I stream from when I stream from the park. However, if it's too windy, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Like, Jar Jar is actually pretty shielded, and I still have a quite a good signal there, you know. I mean, as long as it's not ridiculous, of course.
Current heart rate 140 beats per minute.
Okay, so it's 140. All right. Now the thing is, this 140, I'm not feeling any drop beats, and it's not pounding like a palpitation. It just feels like normal exercise. So that means I'm getting better. Okay, I gotta be a little quieter because there's some people over here and they'll think I'm crazy if I'm talking to myself. All right, let me go in here. I wanna,
Current heart rate 143 beats per minute.
all right, here's what I'm gonna do. Give me a second, I'm gonna turn off my bicycle workout. Okay, the bike's parked. It says I'm in zone though, 143, cool. It says that my, oh, the range was 128 to 149, that's pretty good. Let me walk it. Well, I don't have to walk it. Let me just ride slowly. This table over here, guys. See this table? This is where I usually live stream. And what I do is I go over here and there's a little brick path that I ride up on and I go here. Oh, this is great because it keeps everything level. It's just amazing. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my light off. So how are we doing, guys? Are we still on? Yeah. Everything looks good, I think. Okay. Well, what I got to do is find the stinking zipper. Okay. For my bag. And I got the MT44 right here, and I'll show you this. Okay, this is it. I'm gonna lock this, and I'm gonna put the tripod out. It's a little bit hard sometimes to spread it. There you go. Once it gets spread, it goes okay. All right. And then I'm gonna lock this down. And then this is the, you know, the floating head. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pocket 3 stuff out, and I'm going to put on the battery base because I don't like any surprises. Battery base. Okay, let's here we go. Now we got it. Now I'm going to unclip the pocket 3, and this is going to be a little bit of a thrash. I apologize for a second. Thank you, Dean. I apologize for a second. I got to unclip this. And I got to, actually this isn't so bad. Oh, it almost came off. The angle is kind of awkward. Come on. There's, you know, I wish they put a tab on the side of that clamp so you could get it off easy. It's just, oh. All right. I can't get a hold of the clamp swinging out. Ah, there we go. Okay, now I'm swinging it out and, oh, come on, get out. Okay, the pocket 3 is free. All right. And so now, if I just go here and I put it on the battery level, on the battery handle, then we're all set. I'm going to do one thing. Excuse me. I'm going to get my water. Well, actually 2 things. Won't do any good unless I get my phone. Water and the phone. And then, yeah, okay. And let me turn this back around this way. All right. Yeah, this is not bad. Okay, pretty good actually. And I think what I might do My battery level is 82. I guess my battery level on the phone is okay. Otherwise, I would get my Skin Arma battery bank that also has a built-in stand. See, this guy just like sticks on, and then it has like a stand. You can either put your fingers in it, and hold it, or it has a stand, right? So, all right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down just a hair, because there's no reason to have my face like in the very center. All right. So how's everyone doing tonight? I'm not sure how many viewers we have at the moment, but it's great to be back. And everybody knows recently I've had quite a number of issues with cardiac palpitations and premature ventricular contractions and so forth. And I just want to say it's early. I'm not ready yet to commit to this. I'm going to make an adjustment here. But I think I may have found, after all these years, I may have finally found the answer. And I have been conducting some personal tests to see if, in fact, the information that I have recently discovered is true. And so far, it has borne fruit. I have been able to reduce my symptoms, and like just this afternoon, I'm not going to tell you what I did, but just this afternoon, when I take a nap in the afternoon, like a lot of people, I don't get enough sleep at night. I have split sleep for decades, where I would sleep 4 hours during the day, 4 hours during the night, 6, 2, whatever, sometimes just 3 and 3 or whatever I could get. But in the early evening, I took a nap. And when I laid down, my heart was pounding. It was going about 100, 110, that's strong, boom, boom. I hate that. Gosh, I hate that, because I'm not exercising. And then I would go along and I'd have a dropped beat from the PVC. Boom, 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 boom. It's so annoying, and you can't sleep. Because even though there's nothing wrong, yeah, you can't sleep. So I got up and I did an exercise based on what I think is wrong. And when I laid down, within a very short time, like almost immediately, like I'm going to say, to me, like a minute to 2 minutes is like almost immediately. I mean, very quickly, those pounding beats stopped. My PVC stopped. And I fell asleep. And when I woke up later, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I've been to the ER, I can't tell you how many times. The last time I was riding around Cinchu City and I started getting palpitations, drop beats, and I'm like, I don't have any of the ancillary pains and stuff. I have chest pains sometimes, but they're like muscular or maybe cartilage. I had to talk to my doctor about this. My doctor told me, he gave me some very simple advice. He said, if you have a chest pain that lasts more than 1 minute, go get it investigated. Nothing I have lasts more than 1 minute. It's like 1 second or 5 seconds at the most. But I kept getting, like in the cartilage, and in my rib cage, and little jabs, like like a nerve thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. You get like a nerve pain. So I was having these really heavy drop beats, and I just was riding around in Cinchu City, and the closest hospital was Cathay. I drove right to the ER. I parked. I went in, and they said, "What's wrong?" And I told them it took them about 15 minutes. It's a good thing I wasn't having a heart attack. But I mean, I actually went in for an interview with the doctor first, and he's asking me, and he's talking to me in Chinese, and I can say, like, the stuff that's going on. I can say that in Chinese, and my wife was there and she helped me. And Phoenix is really good too, because Phoenix English is almost perfect. Long story short, they put me in the ER. They put like a heart monitor on me, and the blood oxygen monitor, and I was really tired, which is kind of a sign of what was going on. I was beat. They put me on a. It wasn't like a bed. It was kind of like a sofa. It was upholstered, but it had a sheet on it. And it was interesting. And I asked him, could you raise the head up a little bit, right? Which is kind of another sign of what's going on with me. I will reveal this in a couple of weeks when I have confirmed it with my doctor. But, by the way, if you have any guesses, you're welcome to entertain them now. But I laid there all together, my wife and my daughter just sitting there. They're not really worried. The funny thing is, we've been going through this so long. I mean, a lot of men would interpret the fact that they're not concerned as that they don't care, but it's just that they've been through it so many times. And they took blood, oh, we need to do some blood tests. Yeah, sure, of course. They're looking at my heart rate, it's elevated. They looked at my cardiac enzymes and a whole lot of stuff. They look at things like liver function and glucose and everything. The guy comes back and he says, Mr. Zhu, Z-H-U, that's my Chinese name. We can't find anything wrong with you. That is another classic symptom of the problem that I think I have. I couldn't believe it when I was reading this about different patients' experiences, where they thought they were having a heart attack. Their heart was going wild, just doing crazy stuff, and going out of control. And they just, they said, I got no choice. They went to the ER. And then at the ER, they found out that there wasn't anything wrong. Oh, I forgot to log my medications. Yeah, I got to log them right now. I took my medication just before. Here's the thing though, see. What I've discovered may be the root cause, but it may not be. It may be something that makes it worse. What's the term? Exacerbate? I always get that wrong. I want to say exacerbate, but there's no X in it. So what I'm saying is, the problem that I have uncovered, just, basically just watching YouTube videos, seriously, I mean, that's what it is, because, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of useful information on YouTube that's being suppressed. But what's really interesting is, anecdotal evidence is still evidence. And I'm not a trained investigator, like a detective, but I am a trained detective in the engineering field because I had to troubleshoot and test many very daunting problems. Like in Boston, Dave always likes it when I tell stories about radio and TV, but Boston, I was working on the WHDH radio studio build. I'm going to say it must have been 1986 or 1987, where WNEV TV bought WHDH radio. And we moved HDH radio studio into the Bullfinch Place building where NEV's TV studios were. So now TV and radio are all together, which makes sense. So I was one of the engineers. I'm primarily a radio engineer. So we were building the new studios. And one of the guys, the vice president, Mike, what's his name, came over to Dana Popolo, who's the chief engineer of radio. And Mike said that he had a serious problem with audio. What happened with WNEV, their TV, their channel 7, they're now WHDH Boston, channel 7. And in what Dana Popolo calls the ultimate rape of radio, they took the call sign from the radio station and they dumped the radio station. So that's now WEEI, It's radio is a dirty business and it's crazy. But Vice President of TV Engineering came over and he said, we have a serious audio problem. And I didn't hear that conversation. But Dana came to me later and he said, you know, so-and-so wants to see you. And apparently he said, okay, Klein is the guy. And what it turned out was the 11 o'clock news, you know how important that is, right, for a TV station. The 11 o'clock news, each news anchor has 2 lavalier mics. One is a backup. Every night for a couple of weeks, both of the mics would cut out, and it was driving them nuts. Ron Diamond was their in-house engineer. He couldn't find it. Ron Diamond is a great guy. I got a side story about him. And so they asked me to come in, and I just methodically, using standard investigative processes in the scientific method, I mean, I eliminated everything. Then finally, hey, Dave, how's it going? Good to see you, man. Fist bump. And so I finally eliminated everything except what I thought was the culprit. And I'm not going to go into it, but I went back to my house for about 10 days and did a bunch of data manipulation because I had looked at every pin on every connector, on every module. I forget, I think they had 32 channels, and each channel had 2 connectors, and each connector, excuse me, okay, 32 modules. Each module had, yeah, that's right, 2 connectors. That's right, and each connector had 100 pins. I looked at every pin of every module under a microscope and examined them, and I found the problem. It was contamination. And I solved the problem in one night. Of course, it took me a couple of months of time before that investigation. So I'm used to doing an investigation. But one thing you have to do with an investigation, I mean, your goal is to find the truth. And so when you're talking with people and you hear things like, oh, I've never heard that before, that doesn't matter. People will use that to dismiss you. I don't know why, but I brought up things to people that I read in a book with references and studies, and they just dismiss it. Oh, I never heard of that. Well, duh. I never heard of premature ventricular contractions until I started having them. You don't know about this stuff, you know, nobody knows everything. So the minute you start making assumptions and limiting the scope of what you're looking at, you're done. Because generally speaking, what you're looking for is outside of the normal range of understanding, or else it would already be known, would it not? So anyway, I mean, by the time that I had been asked, Ron Diamond had tried every trick in the book to figure out why these stupid microphones weren't working. So I knew I was dealing with some kind of outside realm thing, you know. I wasn't dealing with operator error or anything like that. Now, Ron Diamond was a great guy, and we got along really well. Found out we had a lot in common, so, you know, we really liked hanging out with each other. And I remember we went in Boston, they had a clam chowder, a chowder cook-off. And, you know, the United States Navy at Boston Port was there, and a bunch of other people. And he's like, I would go someplace with him, and he would treat me, and then I would treat him. But what happened was this. You guys know, shortly after that, I got very sick. And hey, Ken, good to see you, bro. I was unable to respond to him. I was severely debilitated, and unfortunately, Ron took offense because I did see a couple messages that he sent me that I was physically unable to respond to, and I feel bad because he probably thinks I don't know. He probably thinks I was snubbing him based on what he was saying, and it's unfortunate because he was a really good guy, and I hate when these things happen. I really do. But if I don't know, if that happens to you, somebody that you know and you like and everything's cool and you hang out and you ask them what's up and you don't hear from them. See, the thing is, there's a difference between somebody ignoring you and somebody, like rejecting you or something. Like, I never wrote him back and said, sorry, man, we're just not compatible. We're different people. We have different values and nothing like that. And then I understand that he moved to California and I was never able to contact him. I don't know where he went. So anyway, Ron Diamond, hey, fist bump to you, Uncle Bud. So Ron Diamond, if you're around, look, bro, I'm sorry, man. And, I owe you one because the last thing you treated me at was the chowder. So come to Taiwan, Ron. And the whole 2 weeks are on me, bro. Everything. All right, listen, guys. Here's what I want to do because I'm using the Pocket 3 and I want to ask 2 questions. The usual crowd is here. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. I want to do 2 things. First of all, I want to ask you 1 question. And the second thing I want to do, actually, let's do it the other way around. The first thing I want to do is a latency test, okay? Let's test the latency. So here's what I'm going to do. I got my stopwatch on my Apple Watch. I would like for you to put the number 1 in your chat box, but don't press send yet, because what I'm going to do is do like a 3, 2, 1, boom, right? I want to see what the resolution, I want to see what the latency is, by the time I press it and you hear my voice. So please, you guys, if you would, type the number 1. I guess it doesn't matter what it is. Everybody uses 1, right? And then, put it in the chat box and get ready. And so here's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so that's how it's going to happen. So it'll be a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and go is when you press send. Okay, so, and that's when I'm going to press this. Ready? Okay, so here we go. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 1 second. 2 seconds. I just want to see 5 seconds. 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 20. Okay, Dean is first. 20. Bud Johnson, 28. Mike, 35. Thank you. Ken, 37. Wow, this says a lot about the internet routing. Wow. Okay, so basically what we can expect is, yeah, okay, that's good. I think what we can expect is, a solid 30 seconds would be pretty good. So it's not bad. So, but that also means that if you guys type a message to me, it's probably going to be, there's probably going to be at least a 30-second delay before I actually see your question or comment or whatever. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. I always wanted to know what that was. Thank you. Okay, great. Now, the second question that I want to ask you is, are you getting sick and tired of me live streaming with the Pocket 3? I've had a couple of snafus. I've had a couple of issues getting it going, but I don't know. I think I kind of understand it. And by the way, Mike, I don't think I saw you come in, so I want to say hi, fist bump to you. Yeah, I must have missed you, unless. Okay. Well, you must have just come in and pressed the 1 and didn't have a chance to say hello yet. That's cool. So yeah, are you guys getting sick of the Pocket 3 content? And if you are, I'll ramp it back a little bit because believe me, I love Prism Live Studio and I love being able to show you things, you know, that I've been doing and photographs that I've taken and so forth, you know, with Prism. It's good for telling a story. But there's just something really appealing about the Pocket 3 where it's such a small device and it's very versatile and it looks really good. And as a matter of fact, what I can do now is because I'm not bicycle mobile and I don't intend on leaving here, bicycle mobile. Oh, I guess I don't have my microfiber cloth with me. No, okay, well that's good. That's good. We saw Coco the other day, if you guys happen to notice. Here we go, ready for this? Yeah, that's the black mist filter, okay? Just put it on. I didn't have the black mist filter on earlier because I was riding my bike and I didn't want it to vibrate and fall off. Saw Coco the other day and she said that she's getting a Pocket 3 because of me. I guess she's been, you know, watching the live streams and that's good. Now here's the thing, I owe DJI, I really do. Because I did a live stream, you guys remember, a couple weeks ago, and it's really bizarre because it's one of my most highest viewed videos. And okay, great, thank you. I appreciate it, Uncle Bud. See, I'm shooting at 720, and I'm using what they call the smooth. I hate it when iPhone and other devices don't use technical terms so we understand. But I think what smooth means is that it's variable bit rate. So if the network has congestion, it slows the bit rate down. But I think that's what smooth means. Oh, I just want to do this. I just want to pull this down. The rule of thirds that bugs me. But yeah, thanks, Mike. It's just the normal lighting here in the park. I'm not even using my my auxiliary lighting, but I mean, I know the iPhone is better, but I can't complain about, I mean, this is not even night mode. There is a night mode on the Pocket 3. There's a low light mode it's actually called low light. I've never used it. I mean, for anything. I tested it, then I went back to regular and I said, I don't see the difference. I'm not using it. I've never used it. Yeah, it is. It's magnetic. So I just stuck it on. I don't know if you heard it click, but yeah, I didn't use if you go back to the beginning of this live stream, I was bicycle mobile from the Thai side of the highway where I started out at. And it's actually a pretty gratifying video because I do have the OEM DJI mount. It grabs the whole thing, you know, it goes all the way around it and clamps it. And it's got a GoPro mount on it, and I happen to have a GoPro clamp on my bike. And I put it on there. I just wanted to see. I wasn't going to use the regular, you know, 1/4-20 screw mount because how that works is there's two tabs that lock in, and all that pressure would be on those two tabs. I've been seeing in Facebook a number of people complaining about those tabs breaking. But in Taiwan, somebody has, it's probably made in China, somebody has made, the Taiwanese are just so amazing. They made a replacement for that module and it's a lot thinner and it has a pass-through USB-C port and two steel, maybe aluminum, but they're metal clamps that clamp on. Hello, thank you. Steel clamps. And I'm actually going to order one of those. They're $10 because you never know when it might break. But the one that they have, I could show you because it's right here. The Pocket 3 itself does not have a 1/4-20 thread on the bottom of it. What it's got is this thing, okay? And there's a USB-C port on the top, which plugs into the bottom of the Pocket 3 because that's where the Pocket 3's C port is. And then this is the back with the C port, and that's the front. And there's a button. And this button opens these clamps on the side, okay? So these little clamps hook on to the body, and it snaps and it clicks, but you always got to check it because one side usually engages and the other doesn't. And these are all plastic. And I'm going to tell you, the Pocket 3 is not an action camera, so I wouldn't go slinging it around with this thing. And this is where the quarter 20 is. When you get the creator combo, it comes with this really cute mini tripod, and the mini tripod looks like this. It's fantastic, and when it folds up, it's perfectly round, which makes it nice for gripping. But this is the module that it goes into, and that is the quarter 20 thread. You can see the quarter 20 thread there, and you can see the USB-C port on the bottom and on the top, and then the button for the latches. And so I don't think that's really strong. The battery handle is the same form factor as this, only it's bigger. I think it probably has like a 18600 or whatever it is battery. You know what I'm talking about. I forget the form factor of that. It's exactly the same form factor, just this much bigger. And that's what's on the camera now, because I don't want to fool around with worrying about running out of battery when I'm over here doing this. And so I keep all this stuff in my bag, and all of this stuff, man, fits. Oh, okay. I got to turn this off. All this stuff fits in this front pocket on my man bag. It's amazing. I can carry the Pocket 3. I can carry that new battery handle that I got from Ulanzi. I can carry all of that stuff, all of it, including the magnetic mount that I got for it, all in my man bag. And this is the Ulanzi. This is really cool. This is basically a battery in an aluminum tube, and there's a tripod here on the bottom of this, okay, like that. And the tripod, again, is round, so it makes a nice handle, and there's a USB-A and a USB-C port on it. And so if I use this and I put the battery handle on this and then the Pocket 3, I got the Pocket 3 battery, the battery handle battery, and this, and it makes for a really, I don't know how long I could live stream, 3 hours, 4 hours, I don't know. But this is a substantial battery. And I've got to tell you, if you threw this at somebody and hit them, it would hurt. But what I was going to say was I really owe it to DJI, I think, because one of my most highly viewed videos was the one where I said that the DJI Pocket 3 is a disappointing camera for live streaming. And now I have to take it all back. And I do. And I don't know if it was because of that crazy update or not, but gosh, look at it. What do you guys think? This is amazing. And it's, the tracking's a little annoying because there's no hysteresis. I said before, I wish there was a space, I could move that it wouldn't actually track until I got, out of frame. But this is the live streaming mode, and it doesn't have quite all of the functions. But if I wanted to, for example, I could take the gimbal and I could go like this, and I could put myself on the side if I wanted to talk about the park, see? And no matter which way I move, it's going to keep me, on that side, right? And that's pretty cool. Same with up and down. So I could go like this, I could go like that. I prefer myself more kind of like that, like the rule of thirds. But if I was like talking with somebody else, it wants to find faces. But even if I was just sitting there talking about this thing in, the park or whatever, something I was describing, taking a drink on the left side, really, you can't beat it. And the tracking works the other way too. It's the same camera, it just flips around, right? And I know we're used to phones. Hey, Matthew, fist bump. Good to see you, bro. How's everything? And we're used to, I'm just going to recenter this. 2 buttons, 2 presses of the button. And it recenters on me. There you go. How's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, I just, I don't know. People all over the world are saying that this thing is destroying like Sony and Nikon and some of these specialized cameras that are coming out. And I got to tell you, even if a new flippy screen micro four thirds came out with super, slow motion, low megapixel, video centric, I don't think I'd be motivated to buy it because I can keep this thing in my bag. And you know what? I still have room for my Insta360 1X2, which I don't use that much anymore because of this thing. I was shooting some stuff in the backyard. Excellent. Good to hear it, Matthew. I had a little personal barbecue in the backyard, just relaxing one day and just cooking some stuff on the grill. And I affixed my 360 on a selfie stick on a tree in my backyard, overlooking everything. And I just put the Pocket 3 on a tripod. I haven't published any of that footage. It's just footage that I took for myself, and I wanted to see how it looked. And I'm not a vlogger, but editing the 360 video was kind of a pain in the neck because I had to reframe it. And then when I zoomed in, it's 5.2K. This is 4K. But it's 5.2K, but you got to understand that 5.2K is spread around a 360-degree sphere. And so when you're looking at an individual area, the resolution can be quite low. It can be like 720 or down to 420p. So, hey, Ken, thank you so much. And yeah, see you next time. Yeah, it might be, well, it's Sunday, right? I don't know if you're going to work, but whatever you're doing, bro, you take care. If you're just taking a rest, man. Always a pleasure to see you. And the resolution of the 360, I mean, seriously, if you're going to try to compete with this in 360, you'd have to have just a monster megapixels, I mean, you'd have to have something like 8K. But that may be Insta360's next camera. I didn't even get the 1X3. I looked at the specs. I said, there's no difference. It's got a bigger screen. I don't care. I don't use the screen. I never look at the screen except for, changing parameters. I don't use the screen to monitor anything, not like this. So, yeah, even Casey Stern. One of my favorite YouTube channels is called Camera Conspiracies. If you guys like highly technical but humorous, the guy is actually a comedian. I mean he's comical. He's a professional YouTuber, but not a comedian. But this guy knows specs. I mean, in and out. He's just fascinating. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see everybody today. You're absolutely right. And it's like a big family, and I love that. I appreciate that so much. I'm just glad that, we all kind of discovered each other, It's amazing. Casey Stern, though, is quite an interesting guy. And if you really want to learn about video and understand, things about 3D pop and Tone, what they call it. It's funny. I got to sneeze. Excuse me. They say it's bad if you suppress a sneeze, but I do it all the time. I just didn't want that big spiky noise on my video. Anyway, there's that stray dog running around here. At least he's being nice. He's not bothering me. He's not interested in me at all. He's ignoring me. Wow, he's looking for something. He's very alert, looking for something. Anyway, yeah. Camera Conspiracies, check that out. He does a video like every day. He's got another channel called Vegetable Police, which he talks about his personal fitness and health journey. He's pretty interesting. He's pretty ripped, but he's never done weightlifting. He only does calisthenics and body weight exercises, which is pretty cool. And he wrote a book called Monkey Strength. I haven't gotten it, but maybe I will. But his Vegetable Police channel, he talks about how he's only eating lamb. He's been carnivore. He was vegan and all this stuff. So it's kind of controversial, but it's pretty cool. The Vegetable Channel Police for me isn't such a big thing, but the guy's such a good comedian, and the comments he makes is pretty funny. Actually, if you go to Camera Conspiracies right now, he just released a video about an hour ago. That's about the time he releases. It's great for me because it's like 10 or 11 o'clock at night my time. So I'm into the day, I'm watching YouTube. Hey, what's Casey got going on? I turn on the 55-inch and there it is. He's there and it's great. But it's actually kind of cold. But cold is good. One of the things that's going on with me, and part of what I think is a diagnosis, it involves the vagus nerve, not like Las Vegas, V-A-G-A-S, not V-E-G-A-S. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve, and it goes from the brain to all the organs. It's one big communication channel all tied together, right? And I was having a couple PVCs yesterday. Yesterday was a great day for me. I went to the Thai side of the highway. It was a terrible day for live streaming because I had a couple failures, and then ended up deleting the video without realizing it. I was deleting the scheduled setup for it, not the video. Anyway, long story short, I had very few PVCs, palpitations. But when I had a couple, I wanted to try something, because part of the protocol for what I think is the problem, and I promise you I'll reveal it in a couple of weeks after I confirm it, was to stimulate the vagus nerve. And part of the vagus nerve stimulation, one of the things you can do is splash cold water in your face. Now this Thai place, it's a store on the outside, and they happen to have a sink. A lot of places in Taiwan have running water. It's amazing outside. Jar Jar store has a spigot outside. You can be at Jar Jar store and just decide that you want to, eat something and then wash a bowl out or whatever right there. That's very common in Taiwan. Like on my 4th floor, I have a water spigot for the washing machine, and I have a water spigot for a sink up there on the 4th floor. And on the top floor of my house, you guys have seen the top floor of my house, there's a water spigot up there too. So that is pretty common. So I just went over and I just took my glasses off and I ran my hand under the water and I splashed in my face. And I sat down and it made a difference. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, so I think I'm onto something. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it yet. I got to see my doctor in another 2 weeks, and I'm going to continue on these treatments and protocols for what I think is the problem based on what medical doctors have said and other evidence, because I'm an investigator and I don't ignore any evidence just because somebody poo-poos it, like the FDA, right? Because we all know what happened during the worldwide epidemic, and we all know that governments literally purposely suppressed known cures because it was in their best interest to do so. And that means don't trust anybody. And so you'll find that, by the way, I have been becoming increasingly unhappy with my saying "and so" all the time. And so, I gotta find another word. Thusly, in real life, in everyday life, if several people came up to you and they said, "Hey bro, your breath, man, yeah. You'd be like, really? You'd be going like, right? And you would do something about it because you would believe it. But it's very odd that people can have symptoms and somehow develop some protocol, that relieves their symptoms, but then the authorities don't believe it. Why would they lie? I mean, if someone came to you and said, "Hey, dude, your breath, man," you go, "Oh, you're lying." Even a stranger, "Hey, man, you took your shoes off. Yeah, your feet are kind of funky." I would totally believe a total stranger, And I would also believe him if he said, "Hey, I took this medication and it did this." Why would he lie? I mean, or she, or what? I mean, it's like, so when you're investigating things, you just can't make any assumptions, and you can't categorically eliminate anything at the very beginning. You eliminate things as it's appropriate at time until you narrow down to things. But I have found, believe it or not, one of the best sources for anecdotal information and from which to start an investigation is YouTube comments. And that's where I found out about a device that I'm going to order. I'm going to order it tomorrow. It's for training the entire esophageal system, and I never heard of it. I never heard any doctor talk about it. I never saw any video on YouTube about it, didn't know about it. And somebody in a YouTube comment said, "Yeah, you need this device." They were replying to a video. And then I saw several other commenters, and they were referring to this device. And I looked it up and I was like, "Oh gosh, there it is. Why didn't I know this?" See, this is what we need AI for. We don't need AI to make a little virtual X-rated chat girlfriend for you on your phone. What we need AI for is to scour comments and figure out what trends are and what people are saying, and then correlate that with data. That's what we need AI for. But there's a sinister side of AI. I found out something the other day that made total sense, and I never thought of it before. As technology gets greater, right? We get dumber. It's amazing, okay? So let's just say somebody from the mid-1700s were suddenly to sit next to me. They would think that all this stuff that I had is magic. This camera, this, magic, right? And the amazing thing is I know how to use it, but I couldn't build it. I mean, I know the theory, and I guess maybe if I had the manufacturing instructions and so forth. But how many people use a phone and don't understand anything about how it operates? How many people drive a car and they don't know anything about it, What happens is the more that technology does stuff for us, the dumber we get. Let me put it to you this way. Yeah, that is exactly what they would think it was. They would think that I was a witch, precisely. I mean, if you could light a match before they were invented, people would think that was, oh, sees fire from his fingers, right? Or they would think like, you're the Apostle Paul. They would think you were a god or something, right? But getting back to, today, for example, you can own a car and not know anything about it except how to put gas in it. And a light comes on, it tells you maintenance time, and you take it to the maintenance shop, and they perform all the maintenance, they change the oil, they do whatever it is, whatever it at that interval it's time to do, and they do it. And then they give the car back. Now, 150 years ago, your transportation was a horse. And yeah, there's a job called an ostler who maintains horses. But he's not going to come to your farm and go to your barn and feed your horse every day. You bring, your horse to the ostler when there's a problem. You have to feed the horse. You got to know how to examine the horse's hooves, know when to trim them, and know when to reshoe them and scrape them out, and do everything, what the horse's diet is and all this stuff. And you need to know this. And so now we don't need to know any of that kind of stuff. And personally, I don't know anybody that knows how to handle or handle, what I mean by handle is take care of a horse. I know how to ride a horse. That's different. But I have recently discovered that the so-called New World Order, the neocons, the globalists, whatever you call it, have given us permission. They permitted us to use and facilitated us to use AI so that we become more stupid because we're going to be using AI for research, so we forget how to do research. We're going to use AI to write for us, so we forget how to write. And eventually we're going to lose all of our skills. And that was really amazing. So I'm so glad I got the Note Air 3C, and I'm writing by hand, and I'm not forgetting that. And writing is still important in Chinese society, but writing in Chinese, my daughter's actually very good. I can't imagine, I just can't believe how much Chinese she knows at 11. Really amazing. So yeah, the more that we rely on AI, because basically there's going to be a point in time, because the cameras now and everything are all AI. There's going to be a point in time you want to do something, you just turn on the AI. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. So what did you use for what was the f-stop and the shutter speed? I don't know. My AI camera figured it out, and they just did it. And that's what we're going to have is a bunch of AI photographers that don't know anything about it, And like for me, I'm not an artist. I'm not a digital artist at all. Nothing. I haven't done anything like that. And yet, I've done digital art through AI. But I promise you, there's one thing I'm never going to do is digital music through AI. As a professional musician, that really kind of frosts me. But as I was saying before about the vagus nerve and stimulating with cold, being out in cold like now is actually good. It is. And I read that cursive writing is no longer being taught in the United States. Of course, everybody uses keyboards, and makes sense. The funny thing is, for me, is I really can't write by hand in Chinese. I mean, I went to school and I spent hours and hours going to writing, but it's easier. It's funny thing is I can read Chinese and I know what it says, but if you ask me to write those words, I can't write them. But I can use the phone and write them. It's crazy. It's maybe sounds strange, but yeah. And I know a lot of the foreigners that are here, they don't bother learning how to write by hand because there are very few instances, that you need to write by hand. I mean, of course I can write some, but if I really wanted to send a message to somebody, I would just use my phone. Or if I was going to communicate and I wanted to write something, I would write it like on my phone or something, and it would be a lot clearer than trying to, form the letters. But it is darn cold right now, and I'm actually feeling really good. I feel better than I felt in a long, long time. And a lot of it has to do, I think, with the intensity of the cold. And I've been reading up on this because one of the next things I'm getting ready to bust a move on is I'm getting ready to get one of those red light panels for red light therapy. I'm really looking forward to that. Red light goes deep into the skin and into the muscles. But one of the benefits that you can get out of red light therapy is if you do a cold plunge or a cold shower beforehand. And so right now, basically I'm getting a heck of an immersion because, you know, air is a fluid. It doesn't, the heat transfer coefficient of air is not as high as water, but it's pretty darn high because, you know, there's a wind chill factor. And right now it is cold. I'm going to see if I can see what the temperature is now. Oh, it says it's 14C. I don't know what 14C is right now. Yeah, but if you want to, yeah, but Mike, Google, I mean, I have arguments with Chat GTP. I don't know if you ever use Chat GTP, but I have arguments with Chat GTP about quantum theory and all kinds of stuff because I'm challenging it. I want to see, I have certain theories about the universe and I just want to see what it says. And the funny thing is, I've actually gotten Chat GTP to admit that I was right and it was wrong about some things. Pretty funny. And even some religious topics too that I talk about. I don't want to get into that, but because Chat GTP is very, very familiar with virtually all the holy writings. I mean, if you want to ask it about the Quran and then ask questions about the Bible and correlations, or you know, virtually Hinduism, Buddhism, anything you want. So I have had some really interesting conversations about the creator and creation with ChatGTP. But my favorite ones are my crazy theories about time. Because I developed a theory decades ago called magnetic integration, and it's about controlling time with magnetism. And it turns out that I was right. But I was only like 26 at the time, and I couldn't prove it, and I didn't have any money to prove it. But yeah, all these things, time, light, they're all part of what we now call space-time, thanks to Stephen Hawking. He put it all together, and they're all interrelated. But yeah, it was my dream years ago to be able to put money into a couple of projects to sort of investigate some of the theories I had, right? But it turns out that those would be considered black technology and they would be off limits and I wouldn't be able to do it. But I have had a couple discussions with theoretical physicists and I did leave them with a lot to think about because I just, some respects, I wish when I was younger things had worked out differently and I had a little more higher education because of the credentials and the connections with the credentials, which I don't have now. But all in all, I'd say I'm happy with how things went. It was fun being a rock star in my youth. And, you know, it's funny because nowadays I hear young people talk about all the stuff they want to do, and a lot of it I've already done. And I guess I'm grateful for that. Let me see the time. Yeah, it's 16 minutes after midnight, and I've been on for, well, not quite an hour yet. I think I need to split. It is cold. I mean, it's really literally cold. My hands are freezing. When I put the stuff away, I'm gonna put my gloves on to ride home. But I wanna thank everyone for joining, and it's our usual Sunday night live stream. Late night. I'm going to go ahead and retitle this, and I might do the thumbnail again later, but you guys know me and you know what it is. But it's all with a Pocket 3, and tonight's broadcast was flawless, and I really appreciate that. That was great. Thank you guys for doing the latency test, because this is set on low latency, not ultra low latency. The next one I do, I will set it on ultra low latency and see what happens. With the Prism Live Studio, you can't because it messes it up. But I'm going to see what happens with this. So you guys take care, and I'll see you next time later in the week. And I might have some interesting things to show you. My Flying V guitar and 2 Vox cabinets are coming tomorrow. My friend John's going to help me. It should be a sunny day. We'll see. I intend to take the stuff Yeah, finally won a lag test. There you go. And you did. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, like 20 some seconds, not bad at all. So I may take the stuff, I'm planning on taking the stuff to the roof and cranking it on 10 and making the neighborhood listen to it. But it's in the middle of the day, they got like the steel plant down here is dropping, 25-inch I-beams and stuff. Thanks, Mike, and thanks, Dean. And I know Ken's gone, and Matthew and Dave. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the DJI app, and it says it's disconnected, so I'm going to confirm. It's going to reconnect, and it shows the live stream in progress, 1 hour and 10 minutes. Sounds good. And so I'm going to press end live stream, and I have to wait a second because there's a little bit of a lag. And so I'm just going to give it about 10 seconds. I'm going to press confirm. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.